And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It is 2 o'clock. We are coming at you live on Facebook and on YouTube as we do each and every Tuesday with some holidays taken off. But by and large, each and every single Tuesday, I am Eric Alarid, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family, joined as I am each and every single week that we're here by Dawn Dantzler, Tilson's Vice President of Marketing and Customer Experience. Good afternoon, Dawn.
Hey, Eric, how's it going?
It's going great. Going great. Again, guys, it is Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It's 2 o'clock. We want you to jump in here. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us where you're building, what part of the process you're in. Maybe you're just thinking about doing this. Maybe you're just starting this journey out of this idea of having a home built somewhere out on a piece of rural land somewhere or in some kind of a subdivision. Or maybe you've already started the process. You've kind of decided more or less which house you want some changes, but you haven't quite pulled the trigger on getting going. Or maybe you're in process. Maybe you've picked your colors out, you've signed your plans, maybe you've done your site evaluation or your stakeout. Maybe you're under construction. We want to hear from, or maybe you're finished. Maybe you're done. So tell us all about it. Jump in. We are live on Facebook, live on YouTube. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in, maybe what you're building. What your favorite thing for Thanksgiving was that you ate. Maybe that. Throw that out there. What is your favorite?
Yeah.
Dawn, what is your favorite Thanksgiving leftover? What do you like to eat afterwards? Almost as much as
Everything's leftover. Everything's leftover. I am probably too fond of pie.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, it's hard for that to go
yeah, I
bad.
know.
The pie doesn't typically make it to the leftover table at the Allard house. It doesn't. Oh, we got mashed potatoes is coming in hot.
Oh, mashed potatoes.
Yeah,
Although honestly, my favorite, I do have a specific way I make my Thanksgiving sandwich because of course I do.
shocking.
But
I'm shocked. This is.
you know,
Please,
yes, I know it's
please tell me
it's
more
very
about
shocking,
this.
but it's sorry guys, you're gonna know way too much about me now. So you do mustard and mayonnaise on both pieces of bread.
Wow.
You do the white meat on one piece, the dark meat on the other piece. You make like a piece of bread out of your stuffing in the middle, and then you put cranberry sauce on that, and then you slam it together, and that is your
That is a
Thanksgiving
sandwich
sandwich.
for sure.
That is a sandwich, yes.
Yeah. So these are some of the other things that aren't typically. There's no dark meat turkey left. That doesn't make it to the leftovers. The white meat and gravy, good to go. Giblet gravy. I don't know, is it pronounced giblet or giblet? Either way, but
I don't know. That's kind of like the gift GIF conversation.
it's true. It's true.
I
So
think it's either
again,
way.
folks, jump in. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in, what you want to talk about today. Dawn, what are we talking about today?
Today we are here to answer everybody's questions. So it's ask us anything about building on your lot or Thanksgiving.
Not what it
leftovers.
says. It says ask us anything.
That's what it says in your invite, but the official one that went out does say about building on your land.
Oh, well, that's wise.
As always, we'll say you can ask us anything. Just our answers get less reliable the further you get from building on your land.
But more creative.
They do. You might learn some interesting things about us. But
you will. So there's some interesting news. I think it's for 2024, the conforming loan limit. I believe I just saw a blurb in the news that it is like $766,000. So that is for your Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac conforming loan limits, folks. That's basically anything over that would be considered a jumbo loan. Anything under that number is in fact considered a conforming or conventional loan. That is maybe not mind blowing to some people. It is mind blowing to me.
It's mind blowing to me, maybe because I'm old and I remember when it was like 300.
Yeah, I can remember vividly. It was 471,050. That was like when I was back in the day when I was selling houses. It was $471,050. Don't ask me why the $50 kicker came in there, but it did. So yeah,
it was important to somebody.
Well, they've done it again. So it was $726,200. It is now bumping up to $766,550. So that's where we are. So that's $750,000 as a conforming loan now in America.
That's crazy.
Welcome to the US of A.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Fortunately, our average is nowhere near that. We do build homes there, but that's not anywhere near where our average is.
Yeah.
Okay, who we got joining us? Dawn, let's go.
We have Lisa
Hi,
saying
Lisa.
howdy from Cowtown, building Magnolia B and Bridal Gate in Bandera County. Construction starts tomorrow. Oh, that's awesome. So exciting.
Bridal Gate is one to jot down for sure. Great spot.
Yes. We got Misty. Hello from Mansfield, building the San Jacinto in Hood County, been released to construction and the frames have started to go up for the foundation.
Okay,
Oh,
got form boards going. This is wonderful.
what's going up? We got Priscilla. I'm watching from Hutto, Texas, building in Gillespie
Okay.
County and trying to figure out the plan that will work for our hill country lot.
Oh, okay, very cool. So yep, lots of them. And fortunately, Priscilla, we have a
Many, many.
ton of experience building in Gillespie County. I bet we have at any given time 15 to 20 houses under construction in Gillespie County. And so it's we are very familiar with building on that type of topography, and our team can definitely help you out. So
Yep, and the Priscilla is the one that says that she's got the mashed potatoes, and
I
I
love it.
think her husband makes a similar sandwich to mine. So
I didn't ever think about putting the cranberry sauce on the sandwich. That's a different. That's another next.
I honestly did not think about the cranberry sauce, but there was a sandwich shop that serves I think they
Mm,
call it the gobbler. I think
there you go.
oh gosh, what's it called?
McAllister's, which oh,
Which. They put the cranberry sauce on it, and I was like, this is necessary. This is necessary.
okay.
We got Chris. Hello from
Howdy.
Michigan. We're building a Canyon C in Blanco, and our foundation pour is next Monday. It snowed here last
Oh,
night, so looking forward to flying down there
yes.
tomorrow. Oh
Time
yeah,
to get out.
fun.
Yeah, I think I heard yesterday it was like 2 feet in Wyoming or something crazy like that. So
That's too
yeah, it's
much.
time to go.
It's too
Time to
much.
go, Chris.
All right, we got Miss Silcox. Beautiful things happening
Nice.
on Lake Fork. Our custom Fayetteville C has a complete exterior, permanent electric done yesterday, texture done yesterday, and cabinets coming on Thursday. We are on track.
Send us some
Awesome.
pictures,
Lots
Miss
of fun
Silcox. Send
things
us
going
pictures of the
on.
exterior. We don't see that.
Yeah. Then we've got CJ in Waco just starting to look at building in
Oh,
Hubbard.
beautiful. Okay,
Awesome.
we're at the right spot. We're going to talk about that. How you
Yeah,
start the
let us know
process.
what questions we can answer
Yeah.
for you.
Anything you want to know, man.
We have Carl coming from McAllen, Texas, planning to move to Seguin next year, wanting to get an idea about the process of building.
Okay, Carl. Well, you come to the right spot, man. We'll walk you through that.
Yeah. We got Priscilla saying, I want to understand how much I can change the floor plans to match what we want to accommodate our lot.
Perfect.
Quite a bit, Priscilla. We can change just about everything on it. I like what Holly had to say when she was in San Marcos about the changes that we can make. As long as it fits building code, the law of physics, and your budget, we can pretty much do almost anything to our plans. So we can definitely make some adjustments to make it accommodate a lot.
Yeah, there's very few things we won't do. One of them that some people get into on hill country stuff is like walkout basements. We don't have a lot of that, but there's other ways to deal with if it's an out of level that you're concerned with. We do have a couple of different um, ways to tackle that. So
All right, we've got BJ asking where or how do we start to learn about remodeling a beautiful metal building?
okay, so and I think they asked also about from Van Alstyne Technician in building out our beautiful metal
Yeah.
building.
Yes.
So there are companies that do that. It's not, there aren't very many, particularly up in Grayson County, and the reason being is that well, there's several different reasons. One is they don't know what they're building on top of, right? So they don't want to necessarily be on the hook for foundation or the roof leaking and all that kind of good stuff. That's why we don't do that particular thing. And then also a lot of the trades, being not necessarily as familiar working with both metal and wood. And but there's lots that do that. That well, actually, that's not fair. There are a few that do that. There's not lots. But there's some different kind of barn dominium groups that I've seen on various social medias. I've seen some plans floating around, but the plans aren't the hard thing to find. Just like in home building, the hard thing to find is trades that are going to do that. And just a lot of them, frame probably wouldn't be a big deal. You'd probably find a framer that would do it. It's getting the HVAC done right because now you're basically building a building within a building. So there's just not, unfortunately, not a whole lot of guidance out there on where to find trade contractors that will do that. There are a few. You might be able to search for the local like remodeler is really probably the best route to go. And I would start with like the Dallas Builder Association up there. So you got Texas Association of Builders, and then you got the Dallas Builder Association, which is a subset of it. Engineer Foundation, that's great. You probably have the drawings for it.
Awesome.
And I would start there and look for remodelers, and then just start working the phones. You can go to their websites. I'd find, no offense, because we have a great website. Their websites are usually pretty uh, bleak as far as what all's available. You really have to get in front of them, get the plans over to them, and find out what you wanted, how you sit down to get that done. So,
All right, we've got John, who is building in Tyler County, Colmesdale, in about 3 years. All right,
so I'm gonna help you out with this
she's
one,
getting
and
started.
because it's not the way it should be. Colmaniel,
Colmesdale. Okay.
Colmaniel, Texas. And John, you feel free to correct me. Of course, you'll have to do it with phonetics. I don't know. Today it's Colmaniel.
All right, sounds good. We got Betty Pouty from Schulenburg, building a LaPorte C in Lavaca County, and looking forward to our pre-construction meeting on December
Oh, very
11th.
cool.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Very cool. We've got Tara watching from Conroe, moving to Franklin, Texas, Booker County.
It is not
Okay.
Booger County. That is Robertson County.
Lord willing, this summer, we have met with Danny multiple times, know our floor plan, the Canyon Sea, have made changes, and waiting to put our deposit down to fit our timeline, working on getting a road to our property now. Love these vlogs so much. Oh,
Oh,
thank
good.
you.
We're glad
That's
you
so
did. I
sweet.
was there this morning with Miss Danny there and Brian, so she's a good person to talk to.
Awesome. And that Canyon Sea is a pretty one. I like that one. We got Misty. Changes are good. I think we finished with 196. No. That's too many.
Oh,
Yeah, I've seen your plans. You did make a lot of plans, but guys, golf rules on changes. Okay, we want lowest score.
that's right.
Lowest
Lowest score
score wins.
possible. Lowest score
Yes.
possible.
But yeah, we'll do lots of
That's funny.
changes. Jose is asking, do you have to have your land paid off in order to build a home from
How do we
Tilson?
do it, Dawn? It's
Um,
possible.
No, you do not. So what we are going to look for is a certain amount paid off. So we're looking for, with our Easy Buy program, we want you to have at least 10% equity in the value of your final home. So that's going to be the home plus the land. So we want 10% of that already paid into your land, and that would count as your down payment if you had that already. So definitely not needing to have the full amount paid off. You would during construction continue to make payments on that land loan, but there wouldn't be a construction loan if you have, with that amount, unless you want one. If you're in a program that, if you are VA or something that you would prefer to have a construction loan, then you can go that route, but you do not need to have your land paid off.
Well said.
All right. Misty's saying we only had 15 change orders. Everything else was done beforehand. Okay.
Oh my. That's a lot of change.
They knew what they wanted. And I've seen your plans. I do
It's
like
awesome.
the
Yeah.
changes that
It's
you
gonna be
made.
cool.
Yeah. We joke. Kimberly says she's watching from Georgetown, building a Refugio D in Matagorda County. They just finished outside painting and stained concrete floors. Allie is awesome, and so is
Oh,
Cole.
great.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
That's good to know.
We are also building a Refugio.
We sure are. Not far from
we
Matagorda
are.
County.
Yep. It's going to be one of the new models. We're putting up new models in Angleton, folks, and that will be one of them when we get
I'm
there.
excited
So
about
we've
that one.
taken down the old ones. We're clearing out the old foundations and getting the property ready for the new ones. So, super excited.
All right. So, folks, now is the time where you ask us anything you want to talk about as far as building on your land. You want to talk about financing, you want to talk about construction, you want to talk about design changes like folks have, you want to talk about site preparation, septic systems, water wells, culverts, permits, how all that works. We're here to help. That's what we're here to talk about. Like I said earlier, get a little bit of news on financing. Rates have come down a little bit, which has been pretty interesting. But yeah, so folks, ask us anything you want to know. We talk floodplains, we can talk dirt pads, we can talk anything you guys have questions about or concerns about, or just general inquiries. That's what we're here for. Otherwise, we're just going to fill it with stuff that we know, and we're going to just impart that crazy wisdom to you.
Well, Priscilla is interested. We're concerned about getting the plan finalized without some help to figure out what will work with topography. Can Tilson help with that?
Yes, we can. So it's probably not going to change that much. The only thing that would change a whole lot or affect that a lot would be like maybe garage placement. but that is something that we can help with. If you need some grade shots done, we probably have the bandwidth to come out and do that. If you know roughly, what I don't know, Priscilla, is maybe how big a piece of property you have, and if you have a copy of a survey, that would be super super helpful. I mean, if you have a
Mhm.
copy of a survey and know roughly which direction the property slopes, because also any of our plans can be reversed. We can change where the garage location is. You've probably seen that already on the website. You've got front load attached garage, side load attached garage. We've got alternate garage locations, and you're not even technically limited by what those are. You can still move those around. Um,
Mhm.
but that's usually the most. Garages and porches. We're looking for a couple of things. We don't want to put those on necessarily a low part where water would be maybe running into a garage. We don't want to do that, or a porch. But at the same time, if you can avoid it, you may not want to have your garage, 5 feet off the ground, and then we have to backfill it. But
Yeah.
we have customers that do that, and it works out just fine. So, but yeah, we can absolutely give a hand in that. But we probably would need, not probably, we would need a copy of a survey, and for you to have the corner pins located, and a surveyor can do that for you. And if you need a surveyor, we can help you with that. We can put you in touch with someone that our customers have used and been really happy with, or that we have used and been happy with, out in that area. So yeah, we'd be glad to help.
Okay, awesome. We did have a couple people asking that they wanted to know the process of building and getting started with us. Did you want to
You
talk some
bet.
about
Yeah.
that?
So it starts here, right? This is where the journey begins, the discovery phase. So building a home on your land is very, very different from building one in a production subdivision in a master plan community. Those are already decided, pretty much. Not pretty much. They're already decided. You just go pick one, and which elevation you
Mhm.
want to some degree. Um,
They already know which 6 houses are
They
gonna fit on
already know,
that
yeah, the
lot.
permits are already
Yeah.
pulled, the taps are already there, the power is there, utilities are in place, driveways there, roads are in, curbs and gutters and all that. So, none of that is the case when you're building on depending on where you're building, almost none of that is the case. Certainly your permit's not there because they don't know what you're building yet. So
Yeah.
the journey begins here at this discovery point where you are right now, Carl. So you kind of, whether it's our website, YouTube channel, Facebook page, start gleaning information. Seguin is a very, very popular place. We build a lot of houses around there. We've got an office there in San Marcos, very, very close by. But a lot around Seguin, New Braunfels, all those areas, even Lockhart and um, all that area throughout there, Gonzales. So we got a lot of experience there. We can help you with the permitting and the culvert. So it's going to take, your site is where it begins. It's because it's building on your land. So we'll need to know, like I was telling earlier, a survey. If you have a copy of a survey or your deed, that's a great place to start too. You don't have to have that to start talking with us, but it's helpful because we can start laying a house out dimension wise, garage, no garage, attached, detached, how you want it done. We'll need to know some other things. We can walk you through, like, are you going to need a septic system? Do you have water, some kind of community water in the area? Or are you going to be on a water well? Who's the power company? Is it Pedernales Electric Co-op? Is it Guadalupe Valley Electric Co-op, GVEC? We kind of start narrowing down that and what that process is going to be as far as getting power, not necessarily only to the property, but all the way to where the home is going to be. Is going to be underground, is going to be overhead. We help you with that. And then, that's kind of the unfun stuff. Do you need a culvert to go from the road to your property? Is there a ditch that has to be crossed, or can you just drive right off the road onto the property? All that's, has to be done. All that is the stuff that's done before you ever walk into the sales trailer or sales office at a master plan community. All that's decided. Well, when you're building a home on your land, we're going to walk you through that process because none of it's been decided yet for the most part. All right. So that's happening at the same time that you're looking at floor plans, discussing your needs and your budget with one of our sales consultants, and then we will sit down with you physically and make changes to the plan. We have our custom options, and that does it for most people. They can get what they want by and large with the custom options, and then from there we can make more changes if we need to accommodate your family. They don't necessarily cost more to make those changes. But we sit there with a scale and red pen and literally, hey, I want the door to swing this way because I have, a hope chest that my great grandma has been in our family for years and years, and it's going to sit here. Like, cool, no problem. We'll swing the door the other way. Those types of things, you sit down and go one-on-one with a consultant, and we give you a line item price, what we call an e-ticket, because it used to be called the ticket, and once it goes electronic, you just put an E in front of it. That's what you do.
That's how it works.
Thing. At some point, I think we just call it the ticket again, because everything is E now. It's all E. But I digress, Carl. That's really the beginning of the process. At the same time, we'll be talking, are you going to be financing the home, or are you going to be paying cash for the home? If you're going to be paying cash for the home, it's 5 or 6 payments, technically, counting the last one. And then if you're going to be doing a loan for the home, we kind of have 2 routes you can go there. We have our Easy Buy program, which most people use, which is the no construction loan, no interim financing, no draw schedule, wherein you would just get approved for the full amount up front, but you don't actually close or start making any payments until the home is completely finished and you've done your walkthrough and you're happy, and you close and move in. And your payments usually start 30 to 45 days after that closing date. The other option is we have some one-time close construction loans that folks have been doing. And so we can do that as well, where you actually close up front on the construction loan and the permanent loan, and then you build and build and build and build. And like tradition, typically if a little bit lower equity position, or if you're wanting to lock in that rate way earlier in the process, we've got some folks that have been doing that. And it does have a one-time float down, so you're not locking it in. If you lock it in at 7.7 today, and the late rate drops down to 6.5 this time next year, when you get ready to close, you can float down to that number. So whereas on the Easy Buy, you're not closing until next year anyway, so whatever the rate's going to be as you approach that's when you would lock in.
Right.
Anyway, so that's in a nutshell, a very large nutshell, but in a nutshell, kind of the process. And then once all that's done and decided, we permitted, then we go to construction, we build the house, you just watch it go. All your color selections are already made. You do that up front. You pick your interior and exterior colors, cabinets, carpet, vinyl, tile, vinyl plank, actually, ceramic tile or wood floors or whatever, your plumbing fixtures, your light fixtures, countertops, backsplash, all that stuff is chosen, door hardware, light switch color. It's crazy. The amount of the pulls on your cabinets, all that's chosen up front, so that we're not having to bother you during construction like, oh, we totally forgot to do the cabinets. And by the way, there's an 8-week lead time, so the house is going to sit here and nothing's going to happen. So we take the stress out of all that by having it done up front. We can go ahead and fill out the purchase orders for it. It doesn't mean that something can't get discontinued. We don't have total control of the supply chain, but It's happening less and less these days. And then the house gets built, you get to completion, you do a walkthrough with your builder, and they do an orientation, show you how all the stuff works, how the filters are changed out, how you winterize and all that kind of good stuff. And then you go to closing, and then our warranty kicks in. And we have our own warranty department that has a Tilson employee, shows up in a Tilson vehicle to fix your Tilson home. What is that bubble thing? What was that?
I don't know what that was. Yeah, that was new.
I've had worse emojis thrown my way. So not today and not live, but I've had it happen. Anyway, so that's we have a warranty department that, like I said, a Tilson employee shows up in a Tilson vehicle to fix your Tilson home. It's not some third party that you or I've never met. They do work for Tilson full time. They're here in Texas. Now that's the only exception to that. It would be like your HVAC or appliance or something like that. We're going to send the HVAC company, or we're going to send the appliance company to fix that stuff. But little tile cracks or sheetrock repairs or those type of warranty items, we're all over it.
All right, awesome.
Okay, that's the process.
All right. Then you get Chris saying, if we are thinking about having an outdoor kitchen built on the back porch after construction is done, are there any things that should be considered during the construction phase?
I would consider them, Chris, way before even the construction phase. I would start them in the design phase with your sales consultant. And so, yeah, I'd go ahead and plummet for hot and cold water if that's important to you. Cold water is probably enough. I doubt that you need hot water where you're going to be, but you never know.
Yeah.
So definitely plummet for cold water, something to rinse the sink, which means you'll need a drain. So we actually have in our e-price book plumbing for a future sink by owner. So we would just line item that, add to cart, and your sales consultant would locate it on the plans, which wall you want it on, and it would be roughed in, ready to go for when you're ready. But yeah, so you need the plumbing stub and the drain for sure. That gets the vent in there and all that kind of stuff too. I'd put some power out there. Now that could be something as simple as just put an exterior outlet so that you could wire, whoever you're
Plug in
going to
the
do your outdoor
fridge.
kitchen later can wire off of it. Yeah, your fridge, a light. That's something that people don't think about when you're going to be cooking in the evening. Um, Being able to tell if something is done or not is very helpful if you have light. Also, I like to cook by thermometer, so not to do that. Anyway, so and that's really the most important things would be power and water. Beyond that, it's not a big deal. It's going to be some type of cabinets, which there'll be studs on the other side of whatever you're doing. Um, that's and then not having a door located where you're going to be doing that in the future, for instance. So, like if maybe the door going onto your outdoor patio, you wouldn't want that swinging where you're going to be potentially doing your kitchen. So, those are some design things I would do. Really, once construction starts, it's almost a little late. Doesn't make it impossible necessarily, particularly if you're just needing cold water. I've seen outdoor kitchen companies come off of a hose bib, so an exterior water faucet. I've seen them come off of those and just run a line over to go. Oh, great idea! Yeah, propane stub.
Yeah, I was going to ask about propane subs too. If you did
Yep.
want to do, if you already had a propane tank out there.
I'm a charcoal guy. I'm a smoke. I'm a smoker from a cooking standpoint.
Hank Hill would be very upset with you.
I know. Oh, believe me, I burn plenty of propane. We have 2 tankless water heaters that run on propane. That's about 180,000 BTUs. The propane guy likes us very much. And I have a teenage daughter, so we burn some fuel in the shower. That's the thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Carl is thanking you for all the information. He will be starting at the Design Center in San Marcos. So yeah, awesome.
Great
They
spot.
can help you and guide you through all of it. So
And going back to Chris's deal on the water, that's actually probably the easy with PEX. That's one of the easiest ones to do after the fact because a lot of it's all running. Most of it's all of it's running in your attic anyway. And so someone could pretty easily come after the fact, cut your water off, obviously drain the lines. This order is important. Cut the water off, comma, then drain the lines. Then you can cut into that, put a T up there, and they can just go straight down that wall with a piece of PEX. Or like I said, in some cases, there's a hose bib nearby, and they can tee into that. So it's not the end of the world. It's actually, in my opinion, it's the easiest to add on to later. As far as propane is probably the second easiest, because same thing, it's all running in the attic anyway. So just tee into it and touch it down. Electrical, it might just because I'm afraid of electrical. I'm not afraid of, for whatever reason, I'm not afraid of gas, which is not smart, and I'm really not afraid of water at all. I'm afraid of the damage that both those things can do. But man, electricity, when you've been bit, golly, it really makes it unfun. So anyway,
this is why you're in the sales side and not the construction side.
Totally.
All right. Priscilla's
No,
asking.
I'm in the sales side because it was an air conditioning. I learned that in my warranty days at Tilson when I was in the attic in August in Matagorda County. And then one summer I got to work in the sales office, and I'm like, this is amazing.
Priscilla's asking, we want to get the dryer vented to the side of the house so we can clean it out. Is that something we can do?
It is, yep. Although you don't have to have it vent to the side just to clean it out. They make devices. They sell them at local hardware stores where you can clean them out where they updraft as well. So shortest distance is the best, with one caveat, Priscilla. So the shortest distance is ideal, as long as that doesn't involve a bunch of turns. So sometimes, when you come out of a wall, if you have to make 2 90-degree turns to get out an exterior wall, that's not optimal. You're better off actually going up, as long as your utility is not in the center of a house. So, which is pretty rare. I don't know if we have any plans left that have that. One of my favorites was the Bridgeport, but I think it's gone. So, yes, it's pretty simple to clean out. They make a lot of different tools these days. I'm sure you can also find them on the Amazons that do all that kind of stuff. And it is highly recommended. That's a very wise thing to do. Probably at least every 6 months is to clean out your dryer vent. You'll notice it's just not drying as well. Like you'll just wake up one day, like your towels just won't get dry. Typically, that blue jeans is another one. If you find your denim is not drying well, usually it's an indication that either the vent's the screen's not getting cleaned out, kids, or the dryer vent itself needs to be cleaned out. So
yeah,
but yeah,
the one thing the only thing that I know from a code standpoint, there is some restrictions on exactly where other things can be depending upon the dryer vent. I know we've had some HVAC come up. It can't be, but so close to the HVAC system and
Yeah, the
things like
HVAC
that.
system, that's a
So,
great point, Don. HVAC system, window locations to a degree.
mhm.
I don't know that the gas stub is as big a deal, but it might be. And then the other one was where our fresh air intake is for the HVAC. So just anyway, there's only one spot that happens, so it'd be pretty unlucky that those collide, but anything's possible.
Sometimes it happens. So it's just throwing it out there.
Yeah,
Like
no, that's great.
if you have your heart set on where too many components need to be, there may need to be some adjustments.
Yep. Very well
All
said.
right.
All right, folks, keep dropping your questions into the chat. We're here to answer all. These are great questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of future planning going on. I like the future planning. That's very, very wise. Something that this time of year, we're in that weird time of year where you got you may be switching from your AC to your heat during the day in Texas. I know in other parts of the country they just switch it to heat and they're good till like February. That is not the case here. So they're having a program on your thermostat is really, really wise. It doesn't take a long time to do it.
Mhm.
But having a program run and switch to auto mode, which is fantastic. It'll just switch back and forth, make it super simple, a lot more efficient than walking into a house when you get home from work and it's 82 degrees because it warmed up during the day while you were gone and grinding. So something else to think about there for sure. The other things this time of year, while it's not raining a whole lot now, it's going to. We are going to enter the rainy season, so we'll want you to be checking your drainage. Make sure that things that you've done since you've built your home, like landscaping and maybe some gutters or downspouts, things like that, are cleaned out and good to go and not holding water against the side of your home. Not something we had to worry about in the last 6 months because it didn't rain very much, but it's starting to. It's starting to again. So something to think about. And if you either haven't purchased land yet or purchased it and haven't built anything on it, going to look at land on rainy days is a really, really good idea.
Mhm.
Or maybe just after a good hard rain. It'll show you which way the water's flowing. It'll show you if there's water standing in places, how neighbors have mitigated water on their property. That's one of my favorite times to go look at land is that when it's just rained like 2 inches or 3 inches. It's an awesome, awesome time to go check stuff out because it'll tell you kind of what's going to need to be done to get
That's a good tip.
to be sure that your house performs when it's raining. We all know how they perform when it's dry. We can handle that. You're good.
Mhm.
What
Awesome.
other things can we think about?
No. So let's see. Tilson updates. The Polidoro is coming along.
Yes.
We seem to be all done, and we're putting the furniture in, so that's super exciting.
It's going to be very pretty. Yeah. So I know you mentioned Angleton,
Mhm.
that we have just about have the slabs out so we can start getting going with redoing all that land, making it all pretty again. And then Spring Model Home Park got a little update. So it may get some more updates, but it got a little update. And it,
Mhm.
let's see, like you said, the Paladuro, but yeah, they started merchandising yesterday, and which means the sales center is next on the chopping
Yes,
block. So that's coming. What else? Oh, we've got another question from Chris.
we do. Chris is asking, water lines come. I don't know why it came out. If the water lines come through the attic, where do the drain lines run? Can that be added after construction?
All right. So, yeah, so the water will come in. It's a great question. The water comes in through the slab. There'll be one water line in the slab, and it's the main water line. It's a 1-inch line. And
Mhm.
it comes up and goes immediately up into the attic, and then either loops to your water softener if your house is roughed for one. If you don't have a water softener or aren't roughing it in for one, it will actually just go straight to the water heater location. Um, and then it branches off from there all overhead. And then it's insulated, although it doesn't really need to be, but the code requires it because you're going to have a spray foamed house at this point, and it's PEX piping, but the code still requires they still want it. Anyway,
Insulated. Yep.
it's silly. So
They're afraid of frozen water. They're afraid of frozen water.
it's very scary, very scary. So then it goes down to the very it necks down at every branch, right? So you go from 1 inch down to 3/4, 3/4 to ½ inch branches, and then 3/8 at your various plumbing fixtures. So your commodes, your sinks, all that kind of stuff. And the theory being, just like if you put your thumb on the end of a water hose, that the this is weirding me out, but I mean it's a thing that's happening. I don't know what toy you or Kelsey or whoever have discovered, but anyway, you're putting your thumb
Well,
on the
they like what you're saying.
end of a water hose, and it makes that pressure higher. So everywhere you neck that down, the pressure gets more, which is good for showering and washing hands, all that kind of good stuff. Now, the drain lines they're in the slab. So like all of the drains, like for your sinks, your commodes, tubs, showers, um, all of that kind of stuff is in fact in the slab. There's usually one trunk line that's kind of going out towards, not kind of, it's going to where your septic or sewer stub is going to be. And then the various things branch onto that. So it has to have fall from its highest point. So basically, pick whatever plumbing drain is furthest away from your septic or sewer stub, usually a commode or shower, something like that on an exterior wall. And it has to, that's your highest stub. And then it has to flow down because gravity all the way to that sewer or septic stub. And that is all PVC that's in the ground. And that goes in prior to the placement of concrete. So people are going to show up. They're going to set forms, like one of our viewers was here. I say watcher, viewer. Anyway, they have their forms set. So the boards are going to hold the concrete forms. They won't be there forever, but they're going to hold concrete. So the form boards go up. We put fill into those forms, so material to fill the forms. And then the next people that show up is the plumber. And the plumber shows up and puts all of those drain lines in, and that main water line that's coming in, the supply, where the wall is going to go on. So it's coming in, and then all of those PVC drain lines are put in. And then the concrete crew comes back and they dig the beams. And so they have, the width and depth that the engineer calls for, that the beams need to be dug throughout the slab. And then they cover that with plastic, polyethylene. And that's called a makeup or make ready. And then it's ready for pour. We're ready for inspections. And then, we put the cables in next, then it's ready for inspections. Then we pour concrete or place concrete. Technical builder terms.
Yeah.
They like it placed.
Awesome.
But yeah, we used to run them in the slab. We used to run water lines in the slab, Chris. My first Tilson home I had, it was all copper piping and it was all running the slab. I didn't have any problems, but it's copper's a very soft metal, and it's not very malleable. In other words, if you bend it enough times, it's going to have a crack or a weakness or something like that. And so it's not very job site friendly. It's sometimes gets mauled by tigers and things like that. So we like PEX because it's super durable. It bends, it has a lot less joints, and it's we like having it run overhead because it's easy to fix. It's easy if you run into an issue. It's easy to add stuff onto, and that kind of stuff. So
makes sense. So he's asking, so you can't really tap into any of those drains after the slab is poured?
No, sir. Not without great expense. So I'm going to say you can't, but not without great expense, which is why we were talking about earlier about the outdoor kitchen thing. Know on which wall you want to have that on and put a stub there. It's called a stub out. So typically a plumbing stub, what we do is a hot supply, a cold supply, and a drain. And of course a vent that goes up, but that's what we're doing if we do a stub. If the homeowners, I'm not real sure what I want to do over here. I may want to do, we see it a lot of times in utility rooms, sometimes in garages, if they think they want to have a utility sink at some point, but they don't really know how they're going to park their cars yet, just put me a plumbing stub over here. And then, outdoor kitchens is another one we see it.
Okay. Let's see. Priscilla's asking, if the plan options don't have the garage where we want it due to lot grade, can we move it, or does it depend on the plan? Most times, yes, you can move it. Where I'm going to say it does depend on the plan a little bit is the ones where if the garage is part of the home, Those are going to be a little bit harder to move around because since the garage is already an integral part of the design, it's going to affect the exterior elevation if you try to move it somewhere else. So it can be done. It just there might need to be we might need to turn that into living space, or there be some other adjustments that need to be made. But yes, for the most part, we can move the garage wherever you would like it to be, particularly for something like lot grade or something like that. It's just going to look a little bit different than the plan currently does. Just a lot of
Yeah,
things. We start moving stuff around, it starts changing what things look like.
it does. Yeah, we'd probably have to get help from design and drafting to do something like that. But it
Yeah.
can be. And those are plans like, for example, the Fredericksburg or the Breckenridge or
Rock
Wall. Yeah, some where the garage is, like she's saying, an integral part of the floor plan. But other than those, I mean, we can pretty well put it just about wherever.
Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, there's lots of things we can do to kind of help you out with that and make sure that garage isn't too high up or too low down. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. All right, folks. So again, keep asking your questions, put them into the chat. Again, we can talk about financing. We can talk about construction. We can talk about design changes. We can talk about site preparation, utilities. That's one that tends to get glazed over because it's not a lot of fun, or at least some people don't think it's fun. I love the site prep part, mostly because I like equipment. I like dozers. I like tractors. I like diesel. I like all the things. I like to play in the dirt.
And I like to hire other people to do those things.
Say probably because I don't do it for a living is why I like to do it. So I'm sure if I did it for a living, I would not like equipment because equipment is expensive and breaks, and when it breaks, it's not working. It's not making you money. So that's another issue. But
Yes.
site preparation is a big one for our customers because it is their land, and like I know Priscilla keeps asking these questions because she obviously has some type of a topographical thing going on. So totally understandable. And good to get a site prep person involved early on. But, you bought the place because it's beautiful, has some kind of beautiful view or has trees that you like, or there's something about it that appealed to you to get this piece of property. And so we want to be sure that we have a clear understanding of that when you come to us and you want to start planning on what you're doing. So, be vocal about those things. Like if a certain view off the porch looking at a certain tree is important to you, you need to tell us that. Not only at your sales consultant meeting, but certainly at the site evaluation meeting, because we can actually tell you, okay, come stand here, and this will be the view off of your porch. Is this what you had in mind? Or this will be the view out of your master bedroom window. Is this what you had in mind? But being able to, the driveway is a big deal. Having all weather access to be able to get on and off the property, specifically off. We found getting on the property is not really an issue. It's what
Getting on's not the problem. Yeah.
it's getting the big dump trucks and concrete trucks and lumber trucks off of your property after it rains. We want to be sure that both those things can happen, and we do it with minimizing the number of trees that have to be removed, but there will be some that have to be removed to be able to make turns and also just for the well-being of your foundation. We want to keep certain trees as far away as possible. I get it. There's going to be some, if you have a 50-year-old or 30-year-old heritage oak, we'll do what we can. We'll get the engineer's input and work around that. So.
Okay. Awesome. So we have Kelly asking, do you all build in West Texas?
Okay. So I'm guessing the answer is probably going to be no. I need to know what county you're talking about, but Kimball County is about as far west as we go, which is where Junction is. So if you're looking at like a Odessa, Midland, or Alpine, El Paso, certainly those we don't. Yeah, Dawson, I don't think is one of our babies. I think that's typically if I don't know where it is, there's a pretty good chance we don't build there. I have to know now. I have to go to the wiki. La Mesa. La Mesa seems to be the county seat, or in this case, the only city there. So yeah, south of Lubbock. Yeah, that's going to be one that we don't presently service. There is one. Well, yeah, there's no way we can get out there and make it and do it right. So I would start with a local home building association. So I know there's one in Odessa, Midland. I know there's also one in Lubbock. You can start there. It's a great place to start. Another one, not too far from either of those places, would be a McCoy's Building Supply. I know they just did a grand opening on one in Lubbock, and I know they're in Odessa, Midland. They got a couple of them down there. you can start asking that. I would ask that store manager. Get a hold of the store manager of the local McCoy's Building Supply. McCoy's is a solid, awesome fourth generation family owned company that we use. I mean, a whole bunch, and
Mhm.
ask them who they would recommend if you were looking to build a house on your land in La Mesa, Texas, or that in Dawson County. That's a good place to start. They know who the local builders are, and more importantly, they know who pay their bills and who does not. So
Yeah.
that's a great place to start asking for referrals.
Yeah, they're gonna recommend the ones that pay them. So that would be a good thing to know about. And by that I mean pay their bills, not pay them to recommend them.
Correct.
But yeah. So we've got Mark saying, hope to meet soon at the Bryan location. Looks like he had to cancel his appointment that he had for before Thanksgiving. So yeah, give us a call. Let's get you scheduled back in to
For
come on
sure.
in.
Yeah.
We'd love to meet with you. And then we have a question. Have you all done a fireplace that can serve the living room as well as the patio? So
Okay.
like an
So
indoor outdoor
those are going to
fireplace.
be out of the question these days because of the energy code.
Mhm.
So there may be still some companies that make them, but you will not be able to build a house to the current energy code that has a what's called a pass-through fireplace that goes from the outside to the inside. There's no way that it would pass the air changes per hour or ACH on our blower door test to meet the current energy code. I've seen them; they're super cool in older houses. But there's just absolutely I don't care what kind of doors or whatever you put on them. There's not going to be any way for those to meet code. I have one in my living room, and I did a separate one on the outdoor. The other thing about an outdoor fireplace is it really should be stainless steel. Um, you
Okay.
can get away with it just being the regular sheet metal that's used on indoor fireplaces, but it's it's gonna eventually rust outside. It's just they're just not built for the outdoors. It needs to be stainless steel, so that does need to be two separate fireplaces to do that. You can still put them back to back. It takes up a little more space. It actually takes up quite a bit of space, but um, it can still be done.
Okay.
Great question, though.
Yeah, great question. We've got Becky asking, I did read that mice like to bite PEX piping. Does that happen?
I've never heard of that happening. I don't know of any warranty claims that we've had where the mice are biting on the pecs. Maybe that's why they want us to insulate it with the foam. I don't know. I'll give the code guys the benefit. No, that's not true. There's no way they're that smart. So, no, that is not something I've heard of, Becky.
Yeah, I've never
I
heard that
haven't reached
either.
that page of the internet yet. I'm sure I can find it. But no, that's not something I've heard of. I can tell you what doesn't for sure is dead mice. Dead mice do not chew through pegs. So a regular pest control program, if mice are a thing where you are, a couple of mouse traps like the walkthrough ones, not the. I mean, you can do the old school ones if you want a science project for your kids. But put a couple of those in the attic. I mean, I've got a couple in my barn just to keep them from chewing on. They what they seem to like more than anything is wiring. Like I don't know if it's something about the electronic fault. Them and fire ants are drawn to wiring. So like in my barn for tractors and equipment stuff like that, I have little either mouse poison or mouse traps on some of the equipment just to keep them from eating the wiring underneath there. But it's not something that I've had any of our customers heard of doing that. It's the other thing is the houses are built super tight. So you know, when you're hitting 3 air changes or less per hour on these homes, I mean, there's almost nowhere they can get in unless you just leave the doors open anymore. Which is why we have to put
Right.
fresh air intakes and dehumidifiers and all that kind of stuff on all these houses. Return airs in every room. It's because they're built so super tight that um, it's there's not a lot of places they can get into anymore.
All right, makes sense. Let's see. Mark is sharing they have 4 acres in Hearn. Awesome.
Perfect. Fellow Robertson County fighter.
Think Becky
You're
feels better
welcome.
now.
Yeah.
My guess is it probably happened once. There was somewhere that
And now
one
Google
one
finds
mouse
that same
did,
article over and over and over again because that's what Google does.
or the PVC folks are just trying to figure out how to defeat PEX. That happens too.
Oh, that's true.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're struggling to do that. Um, it's a struggle. All right, so folks, again, kind of make this last call for questions. Any questions that you have about building on your land, about financing a build on your land, about site preparation, about construction, about design changes, about color selections, about cabinets, countertops, door hardware, whatever you want to know, paint. We're here to talk about all those things. Also, the journey doesn't have to end here. Dawn, where else could they possibly find answers to their burning questions about building a home on their land?
Well, first off, we do have a couple of in-person seminars happening this weekend, so you can go into our locations and visit with folks and hear about more specific topics and meet in person. So we do. Then we have all 12 design centers throughout the state where you can go and tour models everywhere except Angleton. Where Angleton, you can look at where the models are going to go, and we can show you what we're planning for the new ones. But we're working on that. Our website is open 24/7, and we do have the new home specialist team ready and able to answer your questions during regular business hours, not 24/7. But leave them a message; they'll get back to you outside of that. So that's a great resource for you. We've got wherever you found us today, Facebook or YouTube, great source of information. We also have Instagram, and if you want to see shenanigans, you can go to TikTok and check those out. But we are just about everywhere, guys.
It's true. It is true.
Let's
Oh,
see.
Danny's he's got some information
Danny's
about.
saying
Okay.
peanut oil in the insulation. That's what I was told about automotive wire.
That's what
Okay,
draws those
that's why
critters
the
to
mice
the.
are.
Huh. How about that? Thank you, Danny.
Interesting. Thank you. Mystery solved.
Finally. Yeah, but it's a real problem. When you go to click the thing and nothing goes clicky clicky, that's a problem.
That is the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you reach down and then you
Particularly
feel
in
the
the
rat
barn.
scratch. Like, oh, I know what happened here.
That's why you need a good mouse or cat.
Yes, I'm working on that. Our cats are not getting it done. We started with 4 barn cats. We're down to 2 barn cats because evidently there are higher predators on the food chain.
Oh.
Yep. And now the ladies of the Allard house are very concerned about these remaining 2, and so now they have now become indoor barn cats, which kind of defeats the purpose of why they were here. But we're going to address that later. They're going to get a little bigger,
Okay.
and we're going to do
They're still in the barn, not the house. Right?
Oh yeah, no, they're not coming to the house.
Okay.
Of course, I said the same
Okay.
thing. They're not coming in the barn either, but here we are. So. Yes, that their real job is supposed to be mouse and snake eradication. But presently, for what we're spending on cat food, I'm not sure I couldn't just fix the equipment from mouse damage. But that there are some battles, Dawn, that we just don't fight.
There's some. I understand.
Yeah.
Let's see. Mark says we plan on bringing our survey when we meet. That's great. That will be super helpful. And I actually did want to say, guys, we are, believe it or not, December is Friday. I feel like this year has just flown by. So if you are thinking about coming into one of our locations, I highly recommend you reach out to our new home specialist and make an appointment, because we are going to have a lot of different vacation days and holiday things, and all of our locations do Christmas parties and things like that. So we just want to make sure that you do have someone who's available to meet with you. So I highly recommend in December to make an appointment. Don't just walk in, because I'd hate for there to not be someone to meet with you.
Yeah. For whatever reason, we let people take time off.
I know. Priscilla's saying peppermint oil will deter your mice, so your garage could smell good.
Boy, could use some help.
Yeah. Lisa is asking question. Now that we've been released to construction, when can we expect to receive the final copy of our plans?
Yes, so it's pretty soon, actually. So it's one of the last set of plans that gets produced. We have what we call our K1, or our construction plans. Then after that, we have what's called the K6, which is the customer's copy of the plans, which is the same as the K1. Just we leave out all of the generic details that we have about cornice work and stuff that would just make you go cross-eyed and is probably irrelevant to your build. So that's the last thing that will get put together. And it will typically go out within a week or 2 of you being released to construction. It is mailed from our office in Houston, Texas. So, because we wanted you to get the scaled set of plans, which most people don't have a printer big enough to print them. So, that's the deal.
Awesome. And then Ms. Silcox is asking, do counters come after cabinets, and when does plumbing fixtures fall in the order?
Okay, so yes, cabinets go first, then countertops. Then typically tile, your backsplash is done. Plumbing fixtures are going to be closer to the end. So a pretty good ways after the countertops, not too far, a couple weeks after the countertops go in, but that's when your MEP trims will happen. So your mechanical trims, so like all the AC vent registers, the actual trim pieces that you see, the light fixtures, so the electrical trims, your switches, your lights, and your plumbing trims. So your faucets, shower heads, tub valves, all that kind of good stuff goes there.
Great. And Mark is saying, Merry Christmas to you and your
Oh,
family. Plan on setting another appointment for the Bryan
Merry
location.
Christmas,
Awesome.
Mark.
Looking forward to it. And then Danny's very excited about the Christmas party. So let us know which office you want me to invite you to.
Seriously, yeah. I know
I'm sure
Brian's doing
they'll
theirs
let you go.
next Monday. I saw the tree. Danny Bailey, and Brian. She went and got a Christmas tree, so they're going to be decorating that. So
Yeah, good times. Lots of
good
festivities
times.
happening.
All right. Well, folks, thank you all for watching. Thank you for the weird bubble thumbs up and even the one thumbs down. That way we know everything's working.
I'm not sure everybody else could see that because there's a
Oh.
chatter on Teams that might have just been visible to us. But
Okay. Well, that was weird. Anyway,
It was
so
weird.
thank you so much, guys, for watching this. Thank you for tuning in and asking these questions. That's what we're here for. Like Dawn said, doesn't have to end here. If you got other questions, reach out to us. We are very, very easy to get a hold of. There's a wealth of information on our YouTube channel. That's a great place to start. Regardless of where you are in the process, is a great place to go visit. Obviously, we'll be here again in the coming weeks, so tune back in again. And until then, we genuinely soon hope to make you part of the Tilson family. We'll see y'all later.
Bye, everybody.